Hi, I'm Dr. Mark B. Hubble, and this is your Monday morning mini message. Earlier today in the church service that I was attending, there was a passage read from the book of Matthew, chapter 26, particularly verse 52. And Jesus says to Peter, after Peter had just cut off the ear of the servant of the high priest, they were trying to apprehend Jesus. He looks at Peter in verse 52, he says, "Put your sword away, for those who draw the sword will surely die by the sword." Now, I know this week we were celebrating the life of Martin Luther King on Monday. It was a holiday. And it made me think of the violent act that ended his life. James Earl Ray had shot him in 1968 and killed him. But not many people know that 10 years earlier, in 1958, there was another assassination attempt on Martin Luther King. He was at a book signing, and a middle-aged black woman approached him and asked him if he was Dr. Martin Luther King, and he said yes. And she pulled out a letter opener and proceeded to stab him in the chest repeatedly, leaving the blade stuck in his chest. He was rushed to the hospital, and when the doctors opened him up and pulled the blade out, they said it was so close to his aorta that if he had so much as sneezed, that it would have punctured through and he would have drowned in his own blood internally. So thinking about that and how close he came to death then, and then those 10 years where he was able to lead that civil rights movement and do it in a nonviolent way. He was protesting in a nonviolent way, and peace seemed to be his message at all times. He was always trying to keep the peace. So when I look at that and I look at today's society and how it's very violent, and a lot of people are resorting to violence so quickly that you see stabbings, you see shootings, you see all kinds of things going on in the news. And what Jesus was trying to tell Peter when he said put the sword down is that somebody has to put their sword down first in order for this evil to end. In order for this violence to end, somebody has to be the first one to lay down their arms. And I think that as we go about our week, we need to focus on trying to maintain peace even when there's animosity and anger and evil around us. How we need to maintain that sense of peace and always try to promote peace whenever we can. Always try to promote a better alternative than doing something violent or yelling or shouting or doing something that exhibits hate or evil. So think about this as you go about your week. Always try to maintain that level of peace and always try to resolve conflicts in a way that doesn't do any harm or damage to someone else. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Take care and God bless.